My name is Smiti. I'm one of the founders of Advantage Club, which is a global employee engagement, rewards, recognition, community building platform. And here I'm going to today discuss different strategies, how we can engage, recognize, reward our performers better, and also retain employees in a better and efficient manner. So before I begin, today in, I think, all of your tables or all of your chairs, you would have found like a weird card. We call it the thank you card. So we're going to do a small exercise today. You don't have to do it right now. You can do it throughout the day. Today is a great conference, and a lot of you are going to meet a lot of new people for the first time. You might really like talking to them. You might really enjoy their company. You might have learned something interesting for them. So what I want all of you to do is just write a message for them. In that card, there is a space where you can write a message, and just give it to them anytime during the day if you just like meeting somebody, and just see their face lit up, right? The kind of reaction you'll get on a simple gratitude card is going to be making you feel that this is an amazing thing. So imagine if this can make a stranger smile, how helpful recognition would be for your own colleagues, for your own peers, and for your own employees on a regular basis. So when we talk about employee recognition in general, it's not a one-size-fits-all strategy overall. And we always look at it in that direction that, okay, what are my competitors doing? What are the people doing in the market? You have to actually fit it with your own company strategy, and I'm going to talk about it a little later during my presentation today. So from a total landscape of recognition today, if you think about it, there's a genuine gap when it comes to leadership's understanding of recognition and an employee's understanding of recognition. If you talk to leaders, around 67% of leaders will say that they're actually giving adequate recognition to their employees. 61% of managers, a similar number, are going to say that, okay, I do recognize my team members a few times a week. And a lot of us sitting here, if we think about it, we might have similar numbers, like around 67% of you will say that, hey, I'm recognizing my employees. But if you talk to end employees, only 40% of employees actually feel that they've received adequate recognition in the past 1 year. So there's a genuine gap between the giving of recognition and the receiving of recognition. So 20% of recognition is getting wasted somewhere, and we need to figure out that gap and fill that gap. So what is the behavioral impact, right? What happens when you actually recognize employees? You will see 73% less burnout. You will see 56% less looking out for job opportunities. You will see people to be more happier, and you'll see them thriving more in their life. You will also see 4x employees getting engaged, and you will see 5x employees who start feeling that this is the right organization for me. This is the right company where I can start growing and maybe build my career. On the other hand, like for unrecognized employees, you will start seeing them get more disengaged. You will start making them, look out for jobs. They'll start thinking that, hey, I'm here only for a year, and maybe I'm going to switch within a year or so. And it's also interesting that 27 to 30% of your employees who are not getting recognized are probably struggling at their work, and which is why they're not getting enough recognition. So if you want to drive the right set of recognition, first, let's talk about the basic stuff, like what are the baseline pointers which we need to look at if we have to actually drive the right recognition. The first and foremost piece is the timeliness of the recognition itself. If you're recognizing an employee at the end of the year during annual appraisals, the whole concept gets lost over time. So, hey, you did a great job 4 months ago is not a very good way of recognizing an employee. So timely recognition becomes really important, where the recognition needs to be instant, it needs to be immediate, and it needs to hit at home at that particular point of time for an employee to feel that you've actually gotten recognized on something. Authenticity, and we had a question earlier around transparency and trust, and I think authenticity also boils down to transparency and trust at the end of the day. how authentic is the recognition which I'm giving to my employees? Am I giving the standard good job done to everybody, or am I personalizing it? Am I associating it with the right values which makes an employee realize that this is what I demonstrated because of which I was recognized in the company? Flexibility in terms of utilizing your rewards is also something which becomes an important factor when you're driving recognition. Gone are the days when you'd give like a single gift card or a trophy or a badge, and then it goes to everybody, and not everybody might need that product. So giving a flexible bucket or a basket of options to employees to pick and choose from, that becomes really important to drive right recognition. Inclusivity in terms of not just DEI, while of course DEI is also a very major part of it, but also in terms of general inclusion of maximum number of employees in the organization. Recognition is not meant for a few performers in the company. Recognition works like a cookie model. Now imagine 80% of people in this room are getting a special cookie because they've done something interesting. The remaining 20% will automatically get incentivized to follow that behavior to get that cookie because you want to be included in that particular piece. So recognition's inclusivity really matters to drive a better culture in your workplace. Specificity in terms of why you're really giving the reward or the recognition creates a transparent, a fair setup where people exactly know why somebody is getting recognized, and if they do that in the future, they will get recognized too. The recognition needs to be relevant and it needs to be consistent. If you're giving the recognition once in a quarter for a certain behavior, it needs to repeat the next quarter. So there needs to be consistency in terms of how you're driving it. And lastly, it needs to be fair. And I'm going to talk about this a little later as well. How do you really drive fairness when you're driving a recognition program so that nobody comes to you tomorrow and says that, hey, my colleague got it, I also feel I should have gotten it, why did I not get it? So now we were talking about future of work, and let's also talk about the past of work. If you look at our grandparents' generations, they worked for survival. Our parents' generation, they worked for security. This generation works more and more for credit, for meaningfulness in their work, for purpose, and they want to feel that they belong in that organization. So previously, when the ascent of recognition as programs started, companies used to incentivize employees by promotions, by bonuses, by different interesting training modules, by annual appraisals, or by simply, creating weekly one-on-ones or giving very regular good job dones to people. I mean, that's still there, but that's not enough. What employees want today is insane. So what employees want today is, one, they don't want the same shoe for everybody. I mean, one size does not fit all. So they want choices. They want different options to pick and choose their rewards. They want validation on their achievements. It's like a small child when they start growing faster, or they do something good, or they get like a good note in their notebook by their teachers. You say, hey, this is a validation. It's a great achievement. That's what today's millennia wants. They want validation on every single achievement which has been done by them. They not only need recognition from their managers, they also need recognition from their leaders. They also need their peers to recognize them, to appreciate them, and to constantly feel good about themselves in the workplace. They need a sense of belongingness, like, why am I here? Why am I in this organization? Do I feel I really belong here, or am I doing just a 9-to-5 job? They also want the recognition to be more humanized. So, like earlier Kate was mentioning that, we want everything to be digitized, but we also want it to be humanized. And that's also, interestingly, what employees want as well. They want fairness and equality in terms of receiving recognition. They also need to have like a higher recall in terms of, have I been recognized? So if you're just giving cash awards to people on annual appraisals, cash gets lost over time. The recall of that recognition gets lost over time. So they need more things to be done along with it, some sort of social aspect associated with it, where you're not just giving me money, you're also giving me 20 things extra, you're giving me a celebration in front of all of my colleagues, which adds to the value of the reward. And they also want to share it across the world. They just don't want to keep the award with themselves. They want to show it off to the rest of the world. They want to share it on LinkedIn, on social media, and others. And lastly, they want everything to be personalized to them. They need to have that personal touch associated with the recognition itself. Crazy, right? I mean, doing so many things for the sake of retaining your employees. But well, that's the world we live in, and that is important today. So how do you incorporate rewards into your HR strategy? So first and foremost, since one size does not fit all, you need to align your organizational goals with your reward strategy. So don't just create a rewards program for the sake of creating it. Figure out where you as an organization want to go. Connect with the strategy teams, connect with other teams, figure out where you want to grow the business, and design your recognition program as a reverse engineered strategy. Second, consider all different types of awards. Don't just do your spot awards. Also do interesting things like quarterly, monthly, annual, biannual, things like customer-based awards, performance-based awards. You can align with interesting things like birthdays, anniversaries, completion of long service. There are so many ways of driving rewards. Try to create a bucket of those rewards and finalize where you want to attach basis your company strategy. Thirdly, your awards need to be transparent and fair. And as promised, let me talk about how that can be done. So there are 3 ways of making rewards really transparent. One is you create a structure in which you can limit the budgets for each business unit, for each manager, and they have limited budgets, so they're naturally less inclined to create favoritism towards 1 or 2 employees. And then you track it monthly, quarterly, and then if you feel there's discrepancies, you reach out to those managers and try to resolve it. This is what I call as a post-emptive way of making rewards transparent. There's also a preemptive way of doing that. In a preemptive way, you can make it work in 2 ways. One is you can create maker-checker models. You have nominators, and then you have a set of approvers, and only when your awards are approved is when the awarding goes through. A third and little easier way, but you'll need technology support for that, is where you can, using technology, restrict the number of awards an employee can get from a single manager in a single certain period of time. And that automatically makes your entire strategy fair and transparent in nature. Fourthly, you need to regularly review and evaluate your reward system. What has worked a quarter ago might not work today. What worked 2 years ago will not work today. Technology is adapting at such a fast pace, we have to keep up with it. If you think about what used to work, say 10 years ago, just by looking at this room, I can see in the past 10 years, glass bottles have replaced plastic bottles. A video of this being shared later has been replaced by direct live streaming. Smartwatches have replaced regular watches, so why should HR tech be any different? Since technology is evolving so fast, we have to keep reevaluating and restructuring what our employees need and then keep up with the trends accordingly. Lastly, we need to also create a hype around the rewarding piece itself. I mean, if I give an award to my colleague, great. But I announce it to the rest of the world, to my entire organization. There is a frenzy associated with the upcoming rewarding ceremony, plus everyone will get aligned to what you want them to get aligned to. You can also attach rewards to performance and productivity. And this is interesting because when you look at annual appraisals, the 1 or 2 months before annual appraisals, everyone is at their best behavior. What about 6 months ago? So your rewards actually can let you know how exactly people have performed for the rest of the year, not just for those 1 or 2 months when people are like, oh, I'm the perfect employee out here. Similarly, you can also reward not just for performance, but also for right cultural behaviors. If you're following core company values, if you're promoting a better culture in the organization, then also you should be eligible to get rewards. So when do you actually give an award? And these are like few examples of what kind of awards you can drive. You can do aspirational awards like maybe a CXO award or Employee of the Quarter or Employee of the Year. You can do productivity awards like I was talking about. When you do a good job, you have certain KPIs, you complete them and you get rewarded. You can do cultural following awards. You can do regular motivation awards like engagement activities. You can do that on a regular basis and then people can get awarded for that. You can also do interesting team or group awards. And the reason I like team awards is because not only does it motivate an individual, it also makes them more conducive to work as part of a team. So it promotes the right team behaviors also in the organization. And of course, behavioral awards. Now, how are you going to give these awards? Like, you have to figure out how do you give these awards? When do you give these awards? What is the exact reward which you're giving? And to what kind of people, what band level of employees are you going to give these awards? Once you figure out the set of awards, the when, how, what, and whom, that creates your entire rewards policy. So the overall point just boils down to one thing, that salary comes every month. And it's something which is expected by employees. I mean, if you don't give a salary, people are probably going to resign. But recognition is something whose impact remains forever. Nobody remembers that, oh, 3 months ago I got my salary, but people remember that 3 months ago I got recognized, there was this amazing celebration and all of that. So from a role-based perspective, if I think of people's various roles in terms of driving recognitions, a manager is somebody who's supposed to give the award, a leader is somebody who's supposed to give the award. The compensation and benefits in the HR team's job is to monitor and proctor the awards, go through analytics, go through the data, and also ensure that there's efficiency in terms of actually giving the rewards. And lastly, the organization's job is to fund the awards, first and foremost. And secondly, also to ensure that you're creating those structures in terms of celebrations, in terms of socializing of the awards at the same time, maybe a repetitive construct around how do you give rewards in a constant and consistent fashion. So typically, from a recognition perspective, there are a few key drivers which help drive rewards better. You need a differentiated strategy for different age demographics, for different employee demographics, for different locations, for different geographies. It changes with every cohort of individuals. You need to create personalization in terms of rewards. You need to also have a global reach when it comes to rewarding. One of the things which has changed in the past few years, especially post the pandemic, is that people are more hybrid in nature. Hiring is more hybrid in nature. You have managers in Dubai who have people reporting to them in Egypt, right? So it's more global, which was really hard to do maybe pre-2020. So your entire strategy needs to be also defined around different geographies, different countries, different currencies, different sorts of purchase parities. The reward which works in, say, Dubai will not have the same impact in Egypt. So your parity of the reward amount also changes country by country. Also, the rise of remote work or hybrid has made technology inevitable in terms of driving recognition policies. And also, it not only helps in driving globalization, it also helps in giving you right analytics, data-driven insights to see how your programs are running. So, in terms of the future of recognition, what do you see there? So what I see as a future of recognition is, one, automation is going to be extremely essential. You cannot do manual recognition work anymore. Gone are the days when there'd be one person responsible for giving a birthday, maybe mailer shootout once in a month. Now my birthday is on the 20th of the month. I'm getting a happy birthday on the 1st of the month. It means nothing to me. Typically, your birthday hysteria dies down a day after your birthday. Or same thing about your anniversaries or long services. So you need to automate to give the right timing of the impact at the right place. Gamification is going to completely change how recognition happens. Can we do more integrated technologies there? Can we create structures in which I complete my numbers, I instantly get rewarded? I have gamified structures that I complete X, I get Y, but I do 20% more, I get something else. So, and on top of it, you throw in a leaderboard. You create healthy competitions where people are seeing that, hey, my colleague's going ahead of me. So again, gamification really is the future of recognition. Meta, we've been talking about metaverse, all across the time. And again, this is going to be a game changer. Meta especially can have a large impact in recognition because you can have a group of people in a same virtual space, cheering for each other, celebrating each other, which is interesting and can be done in a digital setup as well, maybe like a social wall or something, but this is next level on top of it. Virtual recognition is not only meta. Can we add more elements to it? Can we get rid of these basic text citations, great job done, and add more personalized video or audio citations? Can we utilize the virtual aspect of recognition to make it more personalized for the employee? And NFTs is it's one of my pet projects, which I've been working on as well, where recognition is a digital recognition is like a digital trophy. Now, in an office, if I get a physical trophy, I have it for the rest of my life. What happens to my digital recognitions? They get lost over time. So can we use the power of NFTs to create a virtual currency or a virtual entity of my recognitions, which always stay with me forever? What is the ROI on driving these reward programs? If you drive recognition programs in the right way, you will see higher productivity, you will see lower attrition, you will see a better customer satisfaction because happy employees make happy customers. You'll see lower hiring costs because obviously people are not leaving that much, so your replacement costs have gone down, and you will see increased motivation for employees. So there was this study by Great Places to Work who overall identified on the fact that if you have higher recognition programs, you will have higher engagement, you will have more inclination towards or more motivation towards working in the right manner. You will see lesser turnover, and you will see a higher customer satisfaction. So just to conclude, what a digital program in terms of recognition does is, especially if you want to drive the right engagement policies, you need to leverage technology. You need to be data-driven. You need to utilize analytics in the right manner. You need to constantly adapt, constantly evolve, and improve those programs by taking continuous feedbacks. And that will really help in making your recognition programs relevant, effective, and of course, engaging for all your employees. So the only way to drive the right way in terms of engagement is by, or maybe I wouldn't call it engagement, I would call this as an employee experience, is by engaging employees better, by rewarding them better, and by celebrating them in the right manner on the right platforms. Thank you so much. My name is Smiti, and we have a booth out here, so if you have any questions, happy to chat, happy to connect with everyone. We're not going to sell you anything. I just want to chat and understand what you're doing for recognition, and happy to share my 2 cents on what I've seen across the industries as well. Thank you so much.
We are known to be the most superior species on this beautiful planet called Earth. The thing which differentiates us is our ability to express through emotions, words, gestures, as they leave their impression on forever and timeless. We express when we are down, unhappy, anxious, thrilled, and excited. What brings these expressions forward are the moments which matter to us the most, both at home and work. We start our day to win the world, to become better every day, every moment. And when we come across a remarkable moment, we pause, look back and celebrate. to make it memorable and priceless, because time is irreversible. Moments lost can never be regained. Let's make sure we gather such moments and make our place a great place to work, weaved with such beautiful moments and celebrations which are not lost in the whirlpool of time. We at Advantage Club not only help you engage, but join hands with you to celebrate every such moment which matter to you the most, as we deliver happiness and smiles for you. Smiles which create love, affection, and most importantly, belongingness. Get the Advantage on your side today to create a superior employee experience for a great place to work.